Hey, what up everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here today talking all about the upcoming WrestleMania 32 in Dallas. Lots of talk being put in to WrestleMania 32 being one of the biggest WrestleManias of all time. Immediately when this was announced, people were thinking that we were going to see The Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, we were going to see Stone Cold Steve Austin, and then of course from watching WrestleMania 31 and having Ronda Rousey making her surprise WWE in-ring debut, coming in and throwing, did he throw Triple H or did he? I honestly can't remember, but I remember going crazy during this. Rock came out interrupting Triple H and Stephanie, talking about how great WWE is, and basically not showing him any respect. Stephanie stepping up and slapping The Rock right in the face. Basically calling him out that he wouldn't hit a woman. He was too much of a man for that. Rock rolls out of the ring, rolls over to front row where we see Ronda Rousey and her crew sitting there. Ronda jumps over the guardrail, gets right into Stephanie McMahon's face, and it's on from there. Lots of talk came out of the easy match of The Rock and Rousey going up against Triple H and Stephanie. Then word came down the pipe that, what WWE was actually pushing for was Ronda versus Stephanie. And then they were even, trying to think of, worst case scenario. We'll put Triple H and Rock out there, and we'll just have Ronda Rousey and Stephanie in the corners. But word is coming out today that from Brian Alvarez, basically saying that on Wrestling Observer Live that more than likely WWE's plans of trying to get Ronda Rousey to come in to WrestleMania 32 in a wrestling capacity is more than likely not even going to happen, because as of right now, Ronda Rousey is stated to make a Roadhouse remake, which of course is famous from Patrick Swayze back in the day. Ronda's supposed to have a good part in this movie. We've seen her in Entourage. We saw her in Fast 7. That she's going to be taking the movie role. She's talked about basically ending her UFC career, that she's done everything that there is to do. Of course, everyone thought that we were going to see another Ronda Rousey versus Miesha Tate match, which Miesha Tate was moved out of being the #1 contender, and now Holly Holm is going to be there. They're going to take place at the big Australia show. I believe that's going to be in November. So people thought that maybe, from November, then you were looking at maybe every 3 months she fights. So then you're doing the math in your head right then, saying December, January, February, WrestleMania being in April. Hey, we might be good. She might be open. But, there was a lot of, red tape that WWE was going to have to cross through this one. They were going to have to convince Dana White, the Ronda Rousey, their biggest investment that they have going over there, wasn't going to get injured. She was going to be looked at as a good light. Definitely that, you're putting over UFC as much as you are in WWE. It was a miracle just to get her on one show. It made WrestleMania 31 have a great feel. People were walking out of WrestleMania 31. People were turning off at WWE Network, saying that WrestleMania 32 was one of the greatest WrestleManias of all time. But it looks like WrestleMania 32 as of right now is just sort of just one sort of setback after another. Like I said, people thought that we were going to pack 100,000 fans into the AT&T Stadium there where the Dallas Cowboys play, making this one of the biggest WrestleManias of all time, surpassing the WrestleMania 3 attendance record with Andre the Giant against the Big Show. No, I apologize. Andre the Giant against Hulk Hogan. I guess I was trying to think about how at WrestleMania 23, the big plan was that they were going to do Hogan versus the Big Show and try and to surpass it there at Ford Field, which they weren't able to do, but they did get a huge buy rate out of the deal. But Shawn Michaels basically shot down coming back in wrestling again, saying that there's nothing left for him to do, even though people thought that they would do Daniel Bryan versus Shawn Michaels. But Shawn said that, we've seen the teacher versus student role, way too many times in wrestling, and Stone Cold Steve Austin basically saying that, it didn't make sense for him to come back and fight Brock. He'd been out of wrestling so long, that he wasn't sure that there was anything left on the plate for him. He hasn't wrestled since WrestleMania 19. He comes back and has a bad match, stinks it out in front of the people. He lets them down. It hurts his legacy. He comes back and he has a great match. Then people are saying, hey, Stone Cold, why don't you wrestle at Payback? And he sort of turns into this Mick Foley guy where he has this one great appearance, gets talked into coming back and doing another match, and, falls flat on his face. Think about WrestleMania 25. You have, the one shining moment in the Chris Jericho versus the Legends match is the first match from Ricky Steamboat. They turned that in from a 3-on-1 match to a 1-on-1 match the next month where they do Jericho versus Steamboat. When the match was alright, the match was good, but it didn't have the feel of WrestleMania behind it. So, Steamboat got to have one last singles match, but it just didn't live up to the hype that people thought it was going to. I think the WrestleMania appeal gave Steamboat that feel behind that match. But Undertaker's going to be wrestling Brock Lesnar, it looks like, so that's one of the good strong points. We still have to hold on to see if maybe Rock is going to wrestle. People have been thinking that Rock was going to wrestle at 30. He didn't. People thought he was going to wrestle at 31. He didn't. They've been hyping up this Triple H versus Rock match without really announcing it. People have been holding on to this SmackDown segment from over a year ago, but I don't know. I mean, they're going to have to rely on a lot of the talent they have now. Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar, did definitely sell some tickets. It did, drive some people away at the same point. So we're going to have to see what WWE can come up with, for this Royal Rumble to WrestleMania push to try and make WrestleMania 32 one of the biggest ones, because one of the biggest names that they were thought about bringing in was Ronda Rousey. And as of right now, because of Roadhouse, it doesn't look like we're going to get her.